Hello and welcome to Cult Classic Society.
I'm Bobby Davies. I'm joined by Timothy Martini.
Hello, Zyle Gorster.
Yeah, I can't help it. You're Tim. You're always Tim to me, but that's fine. We'll get through this, Tim. Timothy. Well, I'm really excited for this. I love talking about films, movies, TV, music, and we can kind of really open it up. And when I was like, I got to pick first, I was like, it has to be The Mighty Ducks. Childhood film, grew up watching it on repeat. I had them on VHS from the age of maybe 7 or 8, and I watched them a lot. I had a VHS player in my bedroom, and I watched them all the time.
But also, you guys can't see, he's also wearing the Mighty Ducks jersey in front of me now.
I got my full Mighty Ducks jersey that I got from an Anaheim Ducks game 2018. It's their 25th anniversary one. How you been, Tim?
I've been good. It's been a really good week. I've been watching a lot of horror movies now because we're in that spooky season.
Ah, yes.
Watched Halloween Ends this week, actually.
Any thoughts on it? Any quick thoughts? We may cover it sometimes and not too much.
Probably one of the better Halloween movies out there. It's definitely in the top 4. As someone who has the entire collection, I think it was a brave new departure for what everyone was going to expect from the ending of this new trilogy. And yeah, it's a very divisive movie because of storyline reasons. Again, spoilers, but to me, I was really intrigued with the route they took with it.
Kind of delving too much. It's one of the big differences in our intake of media. You're a big horror buff.
I'm massive. I have tattoos of horror movies on my arm. Obsessed. It's one of the big things I grew up on.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. I'm not a big horror guy, so I assume this is something that's going to come. I'm going to be watching a lot of horror films.
Oh yeah,
in months.
You probably won't be able to sleep properly. It's worth it.
I'll tell you this: my wife will not watch a single horror film with me. She cannot do horror. She can't do blood. There's a scene in Daredevil where Kingpin kills someone with slamming them in the car door.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. After that, she stopped watching Daredevil. That was too much. She's not going to watch that with me. Right, cool. So let's talk about the Mighty Ducks.
Yes.
So let's do first things first. What was your knowledge? What was your experience of anything Mighty Ducks before you watched the movies?
Genuinely nothing. All I knew about it was that it was about ice hockey and that Emilio Estevez was in all 3 of them.
Emilio!
And I'm a massive Emilio Estevez fan. Breakfast Club is fantastic and he's great in it. So I was honestly excited by it. I was always very cautious to watch these movies because I have a weird issue with sports films.
Oh, come on. You did tell me this when we...
I wanted to say for the podcast.
Tell me your issue with sports films.
My issue with sports films is it's always the same kind of story being told, in that it's a coach who comes to this dysfunctional team. The coach has his own personal issues, and with rebuilding the team, he also rebuilds his own life. And it's the same kind of story with a lot of sports films, with basketball films, with baseball films. So I was very cautious with the Mighty Ducks, because I was like, is this going to be the same film for 3 films?
It's a big accusation to throw around. I'm not saying you're wrong, because it's quite accurate. But I actually, despite almost certainly knowing how it's going to play out, I love sports films. I'm a big sports buff in life. I'm a season ticket holder at Crystal Palace. Been to a lot of ice hockey games. My love for ice hockey comes from watching the Mighty Ducks as a kid.
Honestly, one of my favourite sports films of all time is Rocky, because I had to study that in film studies back in 2015. So got to dive into and look at thematic themes about all of it. And it's honestly, I find it to be a masterpiece. Because
is that also because he loses at the end? A lot of people think the first one is the best because the realistic thing happens.
That too, I think it adds to it, because unexpected ending. It's not about the fact that he wins or loses, it's the personal journey. And I think that's the big difference with Rocky and a lot of other sports movies, in that they both win in life and in the game. But with Rocky, he loses the fight, but that doesn't matter to him. It's now he has grown as a person.
Yeah, it is a great movie. I think the first Creed is also great, but then after that, I kind of, the second one I didn't enjoy very much.
No, I found the second one to be very boring. But I'm excited for the third one because the trailer just came out this week.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Is it good?
Oh, it looks incredible.
So, Mighty Ducks. We're going to do it chronologically, I think. We'll start movie by movie. All 3 of the films have 3 different names as well. So the first one is Mighty Ducks, the Mighty Ducks of the Champions, or D1. Depending on your preference. Written by Stephen Brill, directed by Stephen Herrick, produced by Jordan Kerner. I don't really want to go into trivia stuff, but actually I think it's more about the experience of watching the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've got a few tidbits in that, but I think this is, for me, the idea behind this is more about sharing the experience than it is reading the IMDb trivia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Saying that, there is a great article that was in Time magazine called Quack, 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 an Oral History of the Mighty Ducks. So read that if you want trivia.
So I think, like, obviously, you have consumed Mighty Ducks through VHS.
Yes, I had them on VHS originally.
I consumed it by watching it on Disney Plus, which was always already a weird experience because I'm watching it basically from my PS5, and you know, in not in the element that, like, obviously you grew up with it, but I would say for like the restoration, like restoring it in 4K, like 1080p quality, it looks really good.
I agree. For this, I rewatched them for the first time. It was the first time watching them on Disney Plus. I got them on DVD because, of course, I had them on DVD. The last time I rewatched them was before Disney Plus came out, and it was on the DVDs. So you sat down, opening film. What was your expectations going into this first one?
So I guess, as I said about with the idea of sports movie, I was expecting that very typical sports film of like downtrodden person, team of like rogues, let's build them up together. And I feel like that's what I got, but there's just something about the Mighty Ducks that I just enjoyed every moment of it. It's so heartwarming, and I do think that had something to do with Emilio Estevez.
There's a lot of charm, isn't there? Especially
He's so charming.
There's a handful of the younger characters, the kids, that also, even at that age, well, that must only be, I think the youngest one's maybe 12, the oldest one's 14, and some of them are great.
Some of them are really good actors. The kid who plays Charlie, he's great.
There's Joshua Jackson
From Dawson's Creek.
from Dawson's Creek, yes. He is great. It already shows his ability to act that young. And I think having at least, and he's not the only kid that can really act, but having at least one that can really act already elevates it above a lot of films that have kids in it.
Absolutely. And I think when you have him positioned as the main kid, like to almost be like, well, he becomes team captain, of course. So you have him as the one who has the biggest bond with Bombay, Emilio Estevez's character. I think having him be also the best actor and the focal point, it really adds a lot to both characters' journeys, which I don't think you would have gotten if you had a different child actor.
Agreed. I think of the other stars, I don't think any of them had the chops to kind of pull off that main one. They were all very good at what they were positioned to do.
Absolutely.
I think Eldon Henson, who plays Fulton Reed,
Yeah.
he's got a good scowl. He can play tough, even though he's probably only 14 at the time. And I've got a little bit of trivia for you. Guy Germain, he's one of the other players.
Yes.
Blonde guy.
Yeah.
He's always going to kiss the female player, Connie.
Yeah.
That's his brother in real life.
Really?
Yeah, they are brothers. They are Eldon Henson and Garrett Henson.
Wow. I never actually knew that.
No, do you know when I found out? About a week ago. I was a kid. They don't look that. If you look at them in the face, there is a definitely
There's slight similarities.
Yeah. At the beginning of the movie, where Bombay, the way he's forced to coach the Ducks is the DUI he gets at the beginning. When Brill wrote the movie, it was going to be a lot darker, a lot more. And the only thing, apparently, that remained from that original darker script is the DUI.
What?
Yeah, there's no real. So this is all from that Time article that I mentioned at the beginning. There's no real. They don't share what the darkness of the original script was going to be. But the DUI is something that was apparently the start of the movie. Was always going to be that Gordon Bombay gets a DUI. And if you want a little bit of a cameo, Brill, the guy who wrote it, Stephen Brill. Well, at the beginning, when Gordon's in court, the other lawyer is Stephen Brill.
Oh, wow. So I had a theory about what you think that the orchestra could be, and we're jumping forward a bit, but there's a flashback with Bombay and his father at the ice lake.
Mm-hmm.
And I seriously thought because they kept going back to that lake, I thought Bombay's dad drowned in that lake.
Oh, that would have been darker than the DUI.
And that's what I'm thinking. Like, if the DUI is like the lightest thing they kept from that dark script, I think that's what it is, because they kept focusing on that. I was like, this is weird.
I don't know if it's necessarily it was kept because it was the lightest thing. I just think it still made storyline sense.
I mean,
And it gives
he didn't
Gordon
kill
a lot
anyone,
alone.
so.
Yeah. So the first thing, like character-wise, he's obviously positioned as the star, the focal point of the film
Yeah.
for a lot of it. And he's Emilio Estevez is credited at the top.
Yeah.
But the mentality that he has as a thing, he seems to pick it up entirely from the coach of the Hawks.
Yeah, who I wrote at is the opening coach, because I didn't know so at the time. Opening coach does not know how to coach.
No, he's a dickhead, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, he absolutely is. He was basically like going like, Bombay, if you fuck this up, I'll kill you. Like, essentially, like, he's giving him like the worst
I'll
pet
press you
advice.
on a 10-year-old. Right?
Exactly. And then, of course, Bombay fails the goal. And then that is what stops him from wanting to play hockey for a while.
Yeah. So the way the story tells it is that he doesn't play hockey after that ever again.
Yeah.
And yet, not to give too much away, at the end of the movie, he goes for a tryout in the minor leagues.
Yeah, which I wrote, how the fuck did he get that?
Well, when they speak to some of the NHL players, they say they'll get him a tryout, don't they? So he kind of jumps the queue a bit, but the fact that, jumping to the second movie, he makes it. He's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's ridiculous considering, like, I'm going to guess he's running in his mid-30s in the film. It's been 20 years since he's played, and he's already gone to that point.
I think he says in the beginning of the second movie he's 29.
Oh, okay, so like...
I mean, he's probably 35 playing him, but...
So like 19 years, and he gets to that point, it's shocking. But like, I guess that's part of the fun of these kind of movies. You can like fictionalize elements of it, because in reality, obviously, that wouldn't happen, but...
Well, some people are natural athletes as well, and the fact that he's supposed to be spending a lot of time on the ice with them again.
Yeah.
So, anything from the kind of start of the film that jumps out to you? I see you got your phone with your notes.
Yeah. When you first meet the kids, I didn't really like any of them. Because it's that moment where they just force themselves into his limo and they just terrorize him.
They're little shits.
They are, yeah.
I think the first kid who endeared himself to me is Jesse. When Bombay comes out on the ice and Jesse thinks he's a drug dealer, Jesse's like, "Could I give you a pass? You got to get out of here."
But so like the only kid that I never actually grew to like in this film was Averman.
Yeah, you either love Averman or you hate him.
Yeah, and
I love him, but
no, I couldn't stand him. Just so you know, everyone, in all my notes for every single film, I keep writing, I hate Averman. And it gets more and more capitalized as it goes on, because he as a character, he never changes. And
yeah, no, I've never really thought about it. He probably has the least character development of anyone.
He's just there to be like a wisecracking arsehole. And that's the problem when you have all these other characters who legitimately do grow throughout each movie. I would say the biggest example of that is Charlie. And
Agreed.
So when you have one character who just stays the same, and there's no progression, it gets really frustrating.
I think in a big ensemble cast, though, you can afford to have one, maybe two characters who are there for comedic effect. There's hundreds of films where a comedy character doesn't really grow. If anything, in some, they devolve into just one-liners. And I don't think he quite does that. I think he stays at the same level.
No, that's the thing. He stays at the same level. It's not like a familiarization where Ned Flanders becomes, just like those one lines every episode, the howdy doodly. That's what he devolves into. But I feel like when, as it's an ensemble film, and it's a comedic ensemble film, everyone is making jokes. And when his stand out too much as trying too hard. No, this is going to be our funny guy. But I would say I laughed more at everyone else because it just felt more natural.
That's fair. Anyone who I know who does like these films either does love him or hate him.
Yeah.
It's not straight down the middle. Everyone loves this guy. Everyone finds him annoying. It's not Jar Jar Binks. It's not everyone finds him annoying.
Absolutely.
One thing I did kind of watching this, and I've never watched it kind of academically before taking notes. So we both studied media and film at uni, and I try my best not to analyze stuff too much because I find it takes out the enjoyment. But with this, I thought, well, for the podcast, I'm going to have to. So I was looking straight away. There's a handful of cliches that I don't think are necessarily bad. I think they work. So the character of Hans, wise old man.
Yeah.
Got to have a wise old man in a sports movie or any kind of growth movie. Charlie's mum from the beginning, the grumpy mum in the 90s movie, overprotective.
I also put that Charlie's the best wingman for his mum.
Yeah. To a creepy level, I think, at points.
Yeah, oh no, honestly, it got concerning.
What was the line? He's just something like, she has many fine qualities that men
find attractive.
So, yeah, that's the one. And my God, I was like, Charlie, you are pimping out your mum.
Like, honestly, I respect that like bravery of being a wingman, but Jesus. I could say there was an underlining theme that I saw of toxic masculinity with Coach Riley and Coach Bombay. Like, Coach Riley used intimidation, like he uses toxic methods to coach them and get them riled up to be the best. And obviously that was imprinted on Bombay because that's what he tries with the Ducks, and obviously that fails. Then he realizes about, I'm like, I was going to say sins of the father, but it's not his father.
Yeah, I mean, he's a father figure, so you can't, I suppose you can't discount that idea.
Yeah, so sins of the father, like to him, like, and he's like, oh no, I need to be better than him, and in that sense, I need to reevaluate how I am now. So he makes hockey fun for the kids.
So you think, yeah, I suppose that's actually quite nice of it when you think about it in reverse. You go, well, there is toxic masculinity in the film, but the whole premise of Bombay's development is overcoming that again. That's not the best way.
Exactly.
Yeah, I really like that. I've never really thought of that as a thing. I always think of him kind of stepping out from the coach's shadow. I never really thought of it as that. This is why you're here, Tim. He's younger than me. You're a Gen Z. You kind of spot these things. A couple of there was a things that do you spot anything else that you think maybe considered problematic, or because it's from the early 90s, 1992.
So I didn't know the exact time it was used, but they used the word spaz.
Yes, I've got that written down too.
Which
so they actually Charlie Spazway.
Yes,
instead of his name's Charlie Conway.
Yeah, they call him Spazway, and that shocked me because even for a Disney movie as well. Obviously, you grew up in the 90s. How common was the word spaz?
Not very. I think by the time I went to school, if you ever used it, you were definitely told off for using it. I don't think it was. It's the same as using like homophobia in an insulting way. I think it was, by the time I got to school, it was always don't do that. Yeah, and I think even 5 years before I went to school, they might have let it slide. Yeah. Glad that disappears after the first film. Maybe because Charlie gets good at hockey. If there's a I mean, it's not the best reason for it to disappear, but at least it disappears.
Absolutely. And so one of the most interesting things I find about this movie is the character of Banks.
Yes.
Because obviously he starts out playing for the Hawks and there's a whole district issue. Turns out he's actually meant to be playing for the Ducks.
District 5 for the Ducks.
Yes. So then obviously they bring him on board to the Ducks. And what I found so interesting was obviously the Ducks are very just cautious around things like, oh, he used to be a Hawk. Can we trust him? But the Hawks turned on him immediately.
Yeah, they are dicks.
They tried to kill him.
Yeah, take out Banks, right?
Yeah,
which is a reoccurring feature in every film.
Yes, in every film, I wrote this franchise really hates Banks.
I don't think they do. I think what they're doing is, to use an analogy you might not get, a lot of teams have a ringer. In Crystal Palace, my football team have always had Wilfred Zaha.
Yeah,
amazing football player, often targeted because he's very good. And I think that's what Banks is. Banks is their ringer. He is the best player on the team. In fact, you say Charlie's the coach, the captain. He doesn't get announced captain till the end of the second movie. Before that, they call Banks the captain, but only in the commentators call Banks the captain.
Yeah.
It's not said anywhere else.
Which I find interesting considering the whole time it's all about Charlie and his development.
Yeah, the lead kid doesn't have to be the captain of the team.
No, absolutely. But I always saw that as well, that Banks was underdeveloped as a character.
A lot of the kids were cast for their ability to ice skate.
Yeah.
And I think he was cast for his ability to ice skate because they needed the best player to be able to play.
Yeah.
I don't think he's bad. I just don't think he's got the chops that Joshua Jackson had.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. I did want to, to jump back. One more thing that I thought. Now, I don't think either of us are probably in a position to say whether this is problematic, but I think it's the very first game, Guy Germain and Terry and Jesse are the starting line.
Yeah,
Guy in the middle, and one of the other team, the opposite team, asks, "Is this the Oreo line?"
I've not picked that up.
And the reason I'm surprised you didn't pick it up is because right at the end of the movie, when they're trying to change up play to get the win, Bombay shouts Oreo line, and they go jump out on the.
I think I phased that out. And I was like, yeah, that's wow. Like, obviously, we're not in positions as two white men to discuss if that's racist, but it sounds extremely problematic.
What I'm going to do, we'll ask one of our friends who is black for their opinion.
I think we should
see what they say.
So I'm coming back later to splice this in. I've spoken to friend of the podcast, Keely Hastick. She works with Tim and myself at Purpose Wrestling. She's the head of customer relations. And her take on the Oreo line is, being called an Oreo can be offensive when it's referring to one person because of those connotations of what maybe a black person should be. Whereas if it's referring to a physical lineup of a black person, a white person, and a black person, then it's a say what you see situation rather than a straight offensive situation. And that maybe when Bombay calls back to it later, it's a reference that is now been planted in the movie and for the kids as a callback.
I'll say there was one camera angle in like the matches that I really liked. It's when they put the puck down in the center, it makes it look like it's underneath the ice, so the puck will land on the camera, then they will hit it.
Yes, I know the one you mean. Yeah. I didn't take much note of cinematography, but being a cameraman, you're probably gonna notice some of these.
Yeah, I think that was like one of my favorite things, and I was going to say don't use that in any of the sequels.
They're not.
No, which really annoyed me because that's probably like the most unique shot they had for like sports movie.
I think a lot of the stuff where they're actually playing hockey is brilliantly filmed. I think they do their best. If you ever watch an ice hockey game, it's really hard to follow. The puck is tiny and it moves fast. And they do a really good job of not only showing the flow of a game, but also the skill of each player also, like especially in the second movie where some of the players have got unique kind of skills.
Yeah.
I think they do a really good job in the way it's shot. I never found, even as a kid, I always knew what was going on. Yeah, I think very cleverly put together.
I was going to say as well, the first Mighty Ducks movie has one of my least favourite tropes in movies.
Go on then.
It's the part where Bombay's having a conversation. He talks about how great Banks is. Yeah, they're losers. My team are losers. And that's when the kids hear it. And they don't stay around to listen to the rest of the conversation when he goes, but they're amazing. Yeah. And then obviously they have an argument with him about that. Oh, you called us losers. I hate that trope. And Disney is guilty of doing it the most. They've done it in DuckTales in the first episodes. It's not
DuckTales.
No, we're on Disney right now. Yeah, it happens in the first episode. Scrooge is complaining about the kids, and then he goes, "But I love them." But obviously, Huey, Dewey, and Louie are already gone.
Yeah, I think there's an analogy with the particular kids. I think all of those kids who hear that disappear off in the first movie.
Yeah,
it's definitely Pete is the little one. He definitely disappears after the first movie, and he's one of the ones who hears.
Yeah,
sure, I can't remember who the other one is.
I think one of them was Jesse.
Ah, yeah, Jesse's the one with attitude, so he's got to be one of the ones who is.
Yeah.
One of my favourite characters, and I was very sad he doesn't reappear in the third movie. He's in the second one. Jesse's a great character, and I think missed out by not having him in the third one.
Yeah. Moving on to Mighty Ducks 2.
Oh, well, before that, I was going to ask, do you have any favourite quotes, favourite character, I know your least favourite character is.
Least favourite character is Abraham. I would definitely say my favourite character is Bombay.
Bombay in the first movie, yeah?
Yes. I just think as a character in that it's only gets the most development, he grows the most, and because Emilio Estevez is just so charming, he makes it work. Quotes!
I think
set out to me in terms of quotes, actually.
So I think the Mighty Ducks has a ton of great quotes. I think going back to a quote that shows Joshua Jackson's acting chops is after the first game with Bombay in charge, and he says, "You can't make me cheat." The sadness on his face is quite palpable. I may have to cut this back in early when you're talking about cinematography, but there's a bit of a flashback where little Bombay, kid Bombay, kneeling on the ice after missing the penalty, and there's just a single light on him. Genuinely so hard. This tiny little kid. And not only is he supposed to be like kind of 10, he's quite short for a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't know if they deliberately chose like maybe an 8-year-old to play him. He's very little. And compared to some of the other players that you see him there, he's a tiny kid.
Like it also had sepia tone on it as well.
Yeah.
So
making it older.
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny now because we use sepia tone to make stuff look like it's from the early 90s.
Exactly.
In terms of my favourite quotes, I've got two. One that's quite funny. When Ducksworth, Gordon's boss at the law firm, makes him choose between the hockey team and his job, he says, "Yes, sir, Mr. Ducksworth. Thank you very much, Mr. Ducksworth. Quack, 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 Mr. Ducksworth." And then he just keeps quacking at him, and he says, "Stop quacking at me." I enjoyed that. And then in terms of actual kind of good bit of dialogue between two characters, when Coach Riley gets one of the kids to take out Banks, Bombay walks past him and says, "To think I wasted all of those years worrying about what you thought." And I was like, there you go. There's this big moment of character development.
Yeah.
Realise this guy is an arsehole. Why did I care?
Exactly. And I think, that's what you need. The verbal confirmation.
Yeah, he's kind of proper and he lays it on thick. And not only does he show Bombay's development, he gets a good jab in there. So it's an insult without being an insult. I really like it. And then on to D2.
My first note is Emilio Estevez in hockey gear is really rare to me.
He's quite a slight man, isn't he?
Yeah. Even the padding doesn't help. But then I also wrote both intros, obviously, My Ducks 1 and D2. You have the most depressing parts for Gordon. Because obviously in the opening for My Ducks 2, he gets injured.
Yes, gets his knee injured.
Yeah. So it's like, it makes you feel bad for him.
Yeah, so I don't know. Stephen Brill wrote the second one as well.
Yeah.
Director, Sam Wiseman. I don't know if artistically how much they wanted to copy the first one in terms of structure. It stars in a very similar way, you're right. Bombay being depressed essentially after hockey related mishaps.
Yeah.
So what was your expectations coming into a second movie? So end of the first movie, the Ducks get their name. They get the Ducks.
Yeah.
They win the Pee Wee League after managing to win 3 games.
So yeah, when I started to approach Mighty Ducks 2, I was like, okay, I feel like if we're going to get the people saying like obviously higher stakes, they'll play like in a bigger league now, whatever. It's going to be like they're slightly older now, different priorities in life. I was thinking it's going to be a very different movie to what we essentially got, which was basically Mighty Ducks against the world.
Yeah.
And I would say though, Mighty Ducks 2 is probably my favorite Mighty Ducks movie.
It's mine too. It's the best movie.
Yeah.
They cut a lot of the fat in terms of characters from the first one.
Yeah.
Brought in some new, kind of more developed characters straight off the bat.
Yeah.
Got instant characteristics. And a lot of the ones who were just kids for kids' sake.
Yeah. So I was just thinking of new characters. I'd say the first thing that I wrote was the Bash Brothers are definitely dating.
Is that your hot take?
That is my hottest of takes. Like, I was like, oh, they're good friends, and then they went to bed together. Those two as a pair was like probably the best part of the film for me.
They're funny, aren't they?
They are incredible. And then when they get, I think it's Ken, when he becomes like the unofficial third Bash brother. When he becomes the unofficial third Bash brother at the end of the film, in the final game, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It is very good, isn't it? The fact that Bombay in the first one mostly taught them to be kind of hockey technicians.
Yeah.
And what hockey is, especially as they get older, it becomes full contact. They batter each other.
Yeah.
And every team has what they call enforcers.
Yeah.
So they're introducing enforcer characters. I like the fact that they're both metalheads. I think just these big lumbering metalheads just there to kill everyone on the ice. Good times.
I know, it's great. But my biggest complaint was they was in by all caps again. The Ducks stopped training. Because there's a line which Averman says was like, Bombay goes, oh, did you guys not train? And Averman goes, oh, I thought we forgot to do something.
Yeah, what slackers, right?
And it's like, you piece of shit.
After all the work you put in.
Exactly. I was like, okay, I understand they have to do like the training stuff again, especially with the new team members. But
in my head, Charlie and Adam Banks, they trained.
Yeah.
They went rollerblading. They played street hockey. Some of the others didn't.
Well, because there's that whole rollerblading bit at the beginning where they kill a construction worker.
Yeah. Fill him with cover in cement.
Yeah. Like they murdered him and they got off scot-free. But that's a whole sequence. They're all rollerblading together. And it's like, okay, so at least they know how to still blade. But then they get their training and they're shit. And there's something missing here.
Well, yeah. So those roller skating sequences genuinely were a thing that, like, as a kid, I was like, I just want to roller skate everywhere because of those sequences. And I did. I roller skated bloody everywhere. I had a bike that got less use than my roller skate, for sure.
I was going to say, because watching that scene, it definitely felt like there was increased budget to the film as well.
Yes. So another bit of trivia, I think this came from the Time article as well. The reason the movie was greenlit is because Disney knew they wanted to start a real hockey team. Oh. They wanted some synergy. They named them after the movie. So you had the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. They're in Anaheim because it's about a 20-minute walk from Disneyland.
Oh, wow.
What used to be called the Pond, the Arrowhead Pond. It's now the Honda Center sponsoring. But they knew that they wanted to have some synergy between that movie and obviously you don't want the movie with just the little kids, especially if you want to rebrand with the new logo and stuff. You want that logo to be in the new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why it was greenlit. It's probably why it got a bigger budget as well. And the first one actually did surprisingly well. They didn't expect it to do well, and it made over 50 million of domestic box office.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember seeing like a interview from Emilio says that even he was surprised at how like popular the first Mighty Ducks movie was.
I think you hit the level head more than anything. Writing, story, it's charm.
Yeah.
Something about this movie that is just charming.
I feel like this film is really like charming as well.
Jumping back to where we were, having the Ducks not train and then come in against these ringers who are all specialists.
Yeah.
I like the idea that these kids are so good that they give the Ducks trouble anyway.
Yeah.
I think even if they had trained, they were going to have a tough time with Dwayne throwing the puck around on a stick.
Yeah.
And Kenny doing his bigger skating.
Yeah. Exactly.
The Ducks were always going to have trouble with them. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I feel like that would have been a much better story to tell in my mind because then obviously they have to fight Iceland, which I wrote. I feel like Disney wanted Russia, but they were forced to change it because it was so much of a cliche.
No, there was no force to change it. They just went, no, let's not do Russia because the Cold War had ended. And they were like, no, Russia's been done in that way. And it is a cliche, I think, but there was never any attempt to use Russia. The interesting thing is, they could have used somewhere like Switzerland or Sweden who are well into their ice hockey.
Yeah.
Iceland, not so much. Because it's like it is kind of here. There is a national ice hockey team, there is a little league, but it's not like it is in some countries.
Because my whole thing was the coach of the team, Sanson. He just felt like a typical Russian bad guy to me.
He sounds Gruber.
Yeah.
This is the thing I know. Again, never having really analysed it before. I watched it and went, oh, he is. He literally reminds me of Alan Rickman in Die Hard. He's Hans Gruber.
I just found it just felt very odd to me. And also, they drop a storyline with Bombay and some like lady, like they go on a date because that's when the Bash Brothers see them on that date.
Yeah.
And I think it's implied because of that date, that's how they find out how the Ducks play.
Yeah.
But they never flat out state it because they have that date, then Iceland beats them the first time, and then never brought up again. She's just there.
That's an interesting way to read it. I always read that as he was the coach. Danson was always prepared.
Yeah.
Not just for the Ducks or the USA team, but for every team.
Yeah.
That's just his thing. She seems quite innocent. I don't think she's a dickhead. I think she legitimately wanted to go on a date with Bombay, and the reason they don't continue it is because the kid's calling all his bullshit.
I just feel like I wish there was a scene to just establish it because it's dropped without warning, and that's the bit obviously when Stanton and Bombay have a one-on-one, and Stanton goes for Bombay's injured leg, and she doesn't react to either. She doesn't go, oh no, you shouldn't have done that, or ha ha ha, like you're hurt, kind of thing. So that felt very like dropped to me.
Maybe they just needed a reason for the friction between Bombay and the team again.
Yeah.
So in the first one, obviously they overhear him calling them losers.
Yeah.
In this one, they needed another reason.
Yeah.
It makes like as a you said, there probably should be another scene somewhere. As a loose reason, it makes sense and to get annoyed.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that ever bothered me about her as a character or the whole storyline with them is the fact that there's something between him and the teacher as well.
Yeah. Which got me. I don't think she was the teacher. That was it. But
she's there. She calls herself a trainer, which I presume is like for exercise rather than actual hockey playing.
Yeah. Because you have Sansa as the coach.
Yeah.
It's like Gordon just becomes a massive dick, like after the Iceland match.
Captain Blood.
Yeah.
The kids call him.
Yeah, like a massive dick. Obviously, they have Flotsam Street Park scene with Keenan Thompson's character.
Yes. Russ Tyler.
Who I was so happy to see in this film because
He's so good, isn't he? Even that young.
Yeah, even that young, he had all that charisma. Like, no wonder he's so successful now.
That scene might be my favourite scene, the street hockey scene.
Yeah.
And all the stuff the guy who plays Keenan's older brother, or Russ's older brother, where he teaches Kenny how to fight.
And then Kenny uses that in the game and becomes a Bash brother. Yeah, it's great.
I don't know the other character's name. He's like, don't sweat it, baby. This is like proper Los Angeles kind of street hockey. Good times.
Oh, no. Yeah, it's great.
Speaking of where you spoke about her name is the character's called Maria, but the actress is called Maria Ellingson. She's the only Icelandic person in the film. All the others are from elsewhere or American or
So obviously there's a character of Jan in this movie, not Hans.
Yes.
What happened? Because my theory is that there was an issue with the original actor. Was it just payment, or was it just literally we wanted to use a brother?
I actually don't know. I think if they could have had Hans, they would have.
Yeah.
There must have been a reason. It's always the same thing, isn't it? Either they've got something else on, acting wise, or they've got contractual issues. He's an older man, maybe his health was an issue at the time.
Yeah.
In all my reading, I did a lot of reading, despite I say I don't want to do much trivia, but I read that whole Time article. I read the IMDb. I read a couple of other articles. It's not mentioned anywhere why he doesn't return. I think Jans is a suitable replacement. They're saying he's his brother. That makes sense. Yeah.
No, absolutely. It's just weird how they all acted like Jan's been there the entire time.
Yeah.
And I understand it, 'cause obviously he's the substitute for Hans, but it was just so weird that he wasn't there. And also, I don't want to jump ahead, but Jan's not in 3.
Hans goes back.
Hans is. Yeah, it's weird. Another note I had about my Ducks was their first game went too well. Because I think this after they do the train and bring the new team, that game went too well.
You've also got, you say that, but you've got the ringers.
Yeah.
You've got Dwayne, you've got Luis, you've got Banks, obviously.
Yeah. I just wanted I guess I wanted it to be a bit more dramatic, that match. Them not getting along at first in the game, and then Bombay gets it to turn them around. okay, now we know how to work together. We can do better once we get to the Iceland match.
I think the first team they play is Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
They're a Caribbean island.
Yeah.
I do wonder if they were picked because then it gives the Ducks a reason to smash someone and kind of get their form back.
Yeah.
Most of these, aside from the Ringers, are from Minnesota, which gets cold as hell. They can, in theory, I think if you're from Minnesota, you could probably ice skate anyway.
Yeah.
Because all the pond freeze over. I think when you're playing someone from a Caribbean island, I've been to Trinidad, it's really nice. But yeah, I think that might be the reason Trinidad and Tobago were chosen to be that first team.
Yeah. So another point I just have, I'm just going through all my notes. I am like going back and forth between all of them. So if it sounds very Discovery related, again, Banks gets very screwed over because unless he gets his wrist injured and he's under just to bend it, I was like, okay, I just don't know about him being a ringer to go they're going to target. But it's just, I feel so bad for him. Because that's just a guy who wants to play, and then obviously he still gets shit on by the Ducks.
Cakey,
Yeah, it's like, oh, come on, it's been over a year since he was part of the Hawks. Move on.
Banks the character is from like a privileged background, and I think showing the tension between them and say some of the other kids who are from a poor background.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that was always the intention. He's not going to stop being a rich guy. They're not going to stop being poor. They're always going to call him Cakey here. Yeah, which is the greatest made-up insult I've ever heard.
Oh, absolutely. I wrote, they even should have given up his spot, not Charlie. Because obviously in the final game, Charlie gives up his spot to help basically captain the team.
Yeah, Averman does score a couple of times, but I know what you mean. But I think you also have to remember they're teenagers, young teenagers, 14. And the fact that Charlie's, I think it's more about character than it is about playing ability. The growth of the character of Charlie, can see that Banks is better than him and that Russ is knuckle puck.
Yeah.
It's such a cute thing.
Absolutely. And how they use him to win is incredible.
So, a little bit of trivia for you. This is one that I do anyway. There's a band, pop punk band, and I love them, and they're called Knuckle Puck. Named after that part of the movie, named after that shot. Really good band. Seen them a couple of times. Check them out.
Well, so my thing about the end of the film, obviously Goldberg and Russ change uniforms.
Yes.
To the Knuckle Puck. That has to be illegal, right?
No, because technically anyone can play as your goalie.
No, but they're flat out changing the uniform. So obviously they're having like face masks, everything. So you can't tell who it is. So like, isn't that illegal?
I suppose the only thing could be is that he's got Goldberg written across his back.
Yeah.
But if they change pads, but then pulled the shirts over, their own shirts, that would be fine.
Yeah,
because you're not.
They were flat out wearing like the jerseys that said like Goldberg and Russ on each other's back. So even like the commentators, like the whole point of that, the commentators think Russ is Goldberg and Goldberg is Russ.
Taking football as an example, if a goalkeeper was to get a red card and they've got no more substitutions left, one of the outfield players can go put on the goalie's top and glove and be the goalie. Yeah, it's not an assigned thing.
But I think, but they're aware of that. Like the opposite team, they made sure the Iceland team wasn't aware of it. That was their whole point.
Yeah.
So to me, that feels illegal. It's obviously withholding information to get an advantage.
I mean, that's what half of sport is.
Yeah.
I don't know. You might be right.
It's just something about it that felt like it's a really great moment.
Do you know what? If you didn't have it there, you wouldn't have the moment where Stanton goes, "The goalie," which is a top line.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and then this is a weird thing that happens in sports movies. Obviously, the Iceland team was spending all their time basically trying to kill everyone. But then after the game, the mutual respect, shaking hands. It's such a weird trope because it only happened in Karate Kid.
As wrestling fans, I don't think we can commentate on that because it happens in wrestling all the time.
But I feel like it's always done weirdly better in wrestling.
Maybe. Well, speaking about like the Icelandic team being heavy, what the guy does to Banks is illegal, and not illegal in hockey. It's illegal. It would be assault.
Yeah,
considered actual assault. Not only would he get in trouble, the coach would get in trouble for encouraging it.
Yeah,
he'd be arrested.
Oh no, absolutely. And I literally wrote, they literally grabbed Russ and threw him against the wall. Isn't that illegal? Because again, I don't know anything about hockey, but to me, it should only be pushing people out the way, not literally two people lifting him up and throwing him.
The rules on kind of contact can be a bit vague. Stuff like hooking with the stick against the rules, tripping. But anything that tends to be like full body contact, because I don't think they grab him. I thought they literally, because they're so big, they literally, as they go into him, he just comes up.
No, I vividly remember seeing their arms go under his shoulders.
I think that probably is illegal, But the other thing is also, why does Portman get thrown out of the game for raising his arm by accident to a ref.
Yeah.
And then the guy gets 2 minutes for nearly breaking Adam's hand.
Yeah, exactly. Also, then the guy gets lassoed as well, which I literally wrote, he fucking lassoed him.
Which is a great moment, but I think he gets 2 minutes for that, but he would probably get thrown out.
Yeah, that's illegal.
Dwayne is a great character.
Oh, that's okay. But I wrote out all those characters with stereotypes, but they're all just so good because they have personality.
Yeah, that's the thing. Dwayne, Kenny. The one who I think is best characterized is Julie.
Yeah,
She is a better goalie than Goldberg.
yeah.
And she's frustrated that she doesn't get her chance.
And then I actually wrote, Julie got her moment.
I think she got two. Because I think the bit where she takes out the two Iceland guys and gets herself thrown out of the game
Yeah.
is a nice, empowering moment. Okay, she didn't get to play hockey.
Yeah.
But two jerks, she got to push them over.
Yeah.
You know, that's a good moment.
But then obviously there's a bit where she catches the puck.
Yes. In the final.
Yeah.
The final shootout. So the second movie, favorite moment, favorite character, any favorite quotes?
So we already touched on the goalie. I
goalie.
think that just got to me. Favorite moment, I would have to say, I already said it. When Ken becomes an unofficial Bash Brother and they're all in the penalty box, literally getting the crowd to cheer with them. To me, that's amazing because I already love the Bash Brother. Ken just added an amazing element to it. And favorite characters are just the Bash Brothers.
Bash Brothers.
They add a weird, wholesome energy to the film, considering what their roles are.
They somehow make being goons, which is like a nickname for enforcers. And
Yeah.
There's a film called The Goon, starring
Sean and Scott.
yes, I was going to call him Stifler, but and yeah, they do. They bring. There's often in any other hockey movie, there are a few, and even in the Ducks, the enemy enforcers are portrayed as these big dumb goons.
Yeah.
But these two, and three, if you include Ken, are lovable, kind of funny, goofy, but in a good way.
Yeah.
And they're metalheads, so I think that probably speaks to you a lot.
oh, absolutely. I think they play Iron Maidens. I was like, yeah.
I've got a couple of. Well, you're not going to like my favourite quote
Was
because it's Averman.
Ah.
It's when they're rounding each other up at the beginning. They're all out on their skates. Charlie blows the whistle, and I can't even remember who it is. Someone comes out, and Averman says, "The quack attack is back, Jack." Which I was like, "That's a top line." Can't even deny it. If someone else said it, you'd love it.
It's Averman's delivery of his lines, and it's that notice me while I'm making a joke.
The other and the best, what I think is the top moment between the second and third period of the last game. They're in the USA stuff. And Jan brings a box of the new Duck jersey.
Oh,
the
yeah.
logo. And the
Yeah.
moment there you see, which is now considered the iconic logo. It's not
Yeah.
the original. One I've got right on here on this jersey.
Yeah.
It's not the original logo, it's the second logo, but it's the iconic one. And they do the Ducks Fly Together speech, which is really great. When Dwayne comes up with some nonsensical cowpoke one.
I did actually write literal chills when they come around in the Dutch uniform.
Oh, yeah, goosebumps.
Honestly, I think that's why it's one of my favorite films. Even though you kind of know what's going to happen because you've seen the first film, it's the same template that happens in each film, but it does enough differently that it just gets you. And when you get to that moment when you get the chills, like when they come in the uniforms, this is a great movie I'm watching.
Yeah, so good, isn't it? And then the phrase that goes with it when they get it, the ducks fly together.
Yeah.
Which I have tattooed on my calf. Do you want to... Stephen Brill, the writer.
Yes.
Another guest appearance in this movie.
Really?
The party at Bombay's place, where he's got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar there, the tall basketball player, Sneakers, and a few other people. He's the drunk party guest who's like, "Oh yeah, you want to talk about coaching? 2 words for you, Pat O'Reilly." And that's him.
I think the one thing we didn't talk about with Mighty Ducks 2, it's the whole sponsorship stuff for Bombay.
Yes, Hendrix Hockey.
Yes.
What's the character? What's his name? The guy from Hendrix. He's a real goofball.
Obviously, they hold that whole thing about him like being basically lined up by green and everything.
Yeah.
And Hans breaks, no, not Hans, Jan breaks into his new apartment and goes, "Wake up, it has to be fun again." I think is a interesting story because obviously you already had, because you see him in Mighty Ducks 1 be bad, go to good, and then you have the inverse of him go from good to bad. It's like, there's still that part of him that,
the lawyer part of his brain.
that's always going to be a part of him. And I like the fact that they address that. It's like it's not, he hasn't completely moved on, but then he has to obviously reevaluate himself, which is something that happens in life. So it's really interesting to actually went with that, because it would have been so simple to be a simple good versus bad team thing.
Yeah.
Because I know you have the captain who has become corrupted.
And he had the very visual moment of burning the standee.
Yeah.
And I think you said it before in the first one, that he has a moment. It's when he speaks to the coach in the first one, the other one, and it's when he burns the effigy of himself.
Yeah, exactly.
In this one. I don't know if it was Stephen Brill or if it was the director, Weissman, who kind of come up with these very visual clues to the way Gordon is progressing.
Yeah.
But they appear for a kids' movie as well. I think they're quite well done.
Yeah, I don't think there's a problem with being on the nose. Sometimes you feel like we spoke about the Iceland teacher, how she just dropped because they didn't really address it. It was subtle and into it. So I think sometimes you need on the nose stuff, especially in a kids' film.
Yeah, because I think adults can take a lot from this.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of jokes that go over kids' heads, a lot like in The Simpsons.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's jokes there that are for adults that kids don't recognise. And I think sometimes you have to remember that some of the story beats, all of the story beats, really, kids need to get.
Yeah, absolutely. So should we move on to
three? Right, interesting one. There's a reason Emilio isn't in this one so much. He's starring and directing The War at Home.
Oh,
so it was in his contract to do the movie, but he'd already started
The War at Home,
his own movie.
Yeah,
essentially. So they kind of wrote it the way they did. They get a new coach.
Coach O'Brien.
Yes, Coach O'Brien. So what were you? So you had you say D2's your favourite. What coming into this one? What was you thinking? Like where could they go from there? What was the?
I really wasn't excited for this movie.
No.
No.
The second one was so good.
Yeah, I genuinely felt the second movie couldn't be topped, and unfortunately I was right.
You're right, but I think the third one is still a very worthwhile watch.
I do think this is it's a good. I think they're all good watches. I should state that. I just think this is the weakest.
Really?
Yeah, I think in my order is 2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3. Okay. I would probably go 2, 3, 1.
I think I like just the very no nonsense story of the first one more than this.
Okay.
And a lack of Emilio Estevez really hurt me.
That's right. Yeah,
it really hurt me.
The relationship between him and Charlie, between Gordon and Charlie, is kind of the heart of the Ducks movies.
Exactly. So, and they really play into that in this film because obviously you have Charlie's mini rivalry with Coach Orion.
Yes.
And the problem is though, when you don't have the other side of that coin in the movie for that role, it doesn't work. So because Charlie just seems really pissy the entire time.
He's a teenager.
Yeah, which I actually wrote. I wrote a teenager pissy. Shocking.
I did read, sorry, I can't remember where I read it. It might have been IMDb. That the reason Charlie is so pissy is because Jesse isn't there to be the hot-headed one.
Yeah.
Because Jesse is, in the other two, is the hot-headed character.
Yeah.
And there's a theory that when the actor didn't want to come back, I think it was, they just amalgamated the character into Charlie.
Which I don't think works. I think actually he doesn't work for him as a character. He's always been the level-headed one.
Yeah.
So for him to all of a sudden snap, it just felt weird.
The thing I think about it is, I think Gordon is his father figure.
Yeah.
Right? And he feels abandoned. And I think that actually makes sense for him to start acting the way he does.
Which is actually something they mentioned in the first movie all the way back. Where Charlie's mom was saying to Gordon like he has an issue with that. Like, I don't want you to get too attached in case you leave because then it's going to kill Charlie.
Yeah.
And obviously it does because he's like, I have to go now, my family needs me. And then like Charlie breaks down, cries in front of him.
The Junior Goodwill Games needs me.
Yeah.
I take your point on board. I think the characterization there makes sense though, to me, anyway. Someone who grew up in like a single parent household and stuff. The characterization of being so frustrated, feeling like you've been left, kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah. I just think, obviously, because they already had Emilio for such a long time, I feel like if they had maybe 2 more scenes to like just drag it out slightly more, it would have been done better.
It was probably a time factor. I think the amount of scenes they had him for, they used correctly.
Yeah.
Hans's funeral, let's give away too much. The lawyer, where he comes in and lawyers up,
Which I put is probably one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's very good. And it's when Charlie and Riley have just started bonding as well. So it's nice to kind of have Gordon kind of put the icing on the cake.
Yeah, exactly. Like he seems to do.
Yeah.
So obviously, in this film, they get scholarship to a very preppy school, which I forgot the name of.
Eden Hall,
that's it. And the whole thing is that the varsity team hates them
because
they're poor.
No, because the captain's little brother is also a hockey player,
Yeah.
and he didn't make the team because the Ducks got scholarships.
Yes. But also, and also because they're poor. Because that's a bit.
They're poor, yeah.
Because that happens a lot. And also, the entire varsity team is white.
They are indeed. So there aren't. You might have only spotted this in the third one, but if you go back and watch all three of them, apart from when they play Trinidad and Tobago,
Yeah.
I don't think there's another person of colour in any of the other teams.
Which, yeah, I think if I just said to you guys, like just staring at this team, like, what's going on? Because I also wrote, they were really targeting Ken,
Oh yeah.
which made me uncomfortable.
So you could argue that obviously they were targeting Ken because of his skating ability. You know, he's fast, he's quick, he's got these
Yeah.
tricks. But on the other hand, yes, there is a level there.
Yeah.
But I think, unlike you say with the Iceland team that
Yeah.
we respect you, that doesn't happen at the end of this one.
No, they literally,
They remain dickheads.
yeah, exactly, the whole time, which is insane to me. Yeah, so obviously it's all about the varsity team versus the Ducks. And obviously, because he's been really pissy, Charlie's like, I don't want to beat him. And kicks up a massive storm about it.
Yes, he does.
And
He doesn't want to play two-way hockey.
no. They obviously have a skating bit at the beginning with a rubber bear. But I thought they would have broken their fucking legs on each other's bridge.
Yeah, and also Goldberg would have died about 6 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also no way to clear a bent down cherry picking crane.
No.
But they do it.
No. Also, I feel like the JV showdown, the varsity team are literally twice the size of the Ducks.
Well, JV and varsity is the big age difference. It's about high school is 4 years.
Yeah.
And they tend to be the older 2 years. And then
Yeah.
freshmen-
So, but they're literally double the size in height and weight.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're gonna die.
Did you recognise the goalie from the varsity team? Scott. He kisses Julie at the end.
Yes, which I did not see coming. There was no hint of a romantic
No.
relationship.
Do you recognise him?
He has a very familiar face, but I don't.
He was Gunner in the last movie. He's got the style. Yeah.
No.
Blonde hair.
Oh God.
So they reuse a lot of the opposition because they're actors who can skate.
Yes.
So they give them a new look. And they play...
I mean that's just clever, right? So we need to talk about the very problematic scene, Louis.
Yeah, Luis.
Nice. When obviously he's going after a varsity girl, finds out she has a boyfriend, and does the only rational thing in this situation, goes under the table and looks at all of their skirts.
Yeah,
And
Luis.
then he acknowledges the camera and nods his head.
Luis is a creep. Hashtag cancel Luis. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So Disney have got quite good at calling problematic stuff on their own stuff on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
A little note at the beginning saying wasn't acceptable now, wasn't acceptable then, but this is the original presentation.
Yeah.
Did that moment deserve?
I think it does, because honestly that is sexual harassment.
Yeah, it's creepy, right?
It is creepy, and what makes it worse is he gets the girl.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
It's not this Charlie, which shocks me because he has no game. Charlie didn't. Louis didn't deserve a girl, and Charlie didn't deserve a girl.
Yeah, I don't. Charlie is charming, but in a goofy way. So I don't know if that's what she liked about him or whatever. He does come across super nerdy.
Yeah, I was impressed with him, but at the same time I was like, yeah, he has no game. I just want to say, making her bring back Charlie's mum in this movie because she was really missed.
Yes, she.
Although I was really upset they did not hint at a Charlie's mum and Bombay relationship again.
No, there should be a little Bombay around already.
You literally wrote Charlie's mum has got a going on.
Yes, she does.
Yeah, that's I'm so happy to see this woman. And she's in a lot of scenes, so I was really happy.
She's at every game. Yeah, in the thing. Yeah.
Again, this franchise really hates Adam Banks. They put him onto the varsity team, and then obviously they do the prank with the ants. And Adam is one of the people who gets called across for it, and they literally go, "What about Adam?" And they go, "Well, he ditched us."
So that's when they do the nitrogen.
Yes, when he free. Yeah, when he free.
They say, "What about Banks?" Because he's one of them now. And Russ says, "Tough luck, Yankee."
Yeah, beautiful. And it's just like, come on, like he doesn't want to be on that team because then at the moment varsity ditch him, he goes back to the Ducks like nothing happened.
Yeah. I don't think because of his age, I don't think he'd be in the dorms with the varsity players.
No, he
He's in the
wasn't.
dorm with his own age.
Yeah.
I don't think he's in the AM scene.
No, yeah, I don't think he is, but he obviously is involved in the prank.
But he's involved. Yeah, he does get his
Yeah.
nose frozen.
And obviously,
A little prank war I do quite like.
I like it.
It's a bit Jackass-esque.
Yeah, I thought the ants were not trained actors.
No, they were not.
They're going at you like, oh, we're going to go the opposite direction. Like, okay.
And also, Charlie says about 100, there's clearly like 2,000.
He stole a horse. That happened.
He might have fired a horse.
He stole that horse. And he literally long range with that guy.
That is a great moment, because one thing I remember why yet. I watched this movie with subtitles for the first time. I watched on my rewatches because of time constraints. I watched it on the Tube. Tube isn't always the best place to hear stuff.
Yes, yeah.
So I put the subtitles on, and there's a couple of lines that you just don't hear. There's one where, like, I can't remember what it is, but Gordon like says it into Charlie's shoulder when he's hugging him. I thought, well, I'll never pick that up before. But that line, as he's running away, you don't really hear it because the horse noise is a bit much, but the varsity jock screams, "They've got horses!"
Yeah. Yeah, it's honestly that made me laugh so much. A great scene.
Be more fun for me if you ran.
So they have their match they have a free fight at dawn.
Yes.
The music in that scene, it's the only time I ever commented on the music. It was so fucking good because they blended runs of like hockey players into it whenever like the varsity team were winning.
Yes.
And it was just so intimidating. It's just so good.
And they, like you said, it's with the bass, isn't it? The bass drum. Yeah, it's very cleverly done.
I was like, how have everyone's glasses never broken?
Those hockey bastards are tough.
Can they take away a scholarship if they're already in it?
If they're subs in school, of course they can. Yeah, well, the thing behind the scholarship is you've got to perform the thing your scholarship for.
Yeah.
So if you get a basketball scholarship, you better be good at basketball. And they're not performing, are they? They get a draw after going up 9-0.
Yeah.
They're not drawing 9 or...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I just found that stuff I didn't know about scholarships, so I was just really fascinated about that.
In this country, in the UK, I think once you've got a scholarship, especially in academic one, I think you're set. But in the US, I think if movies are anything to go by, if you don't perform on the thing you've got your scholarship for, I think they can take it away.
Yeah. So obviously, because of that situation with the school like failing to take the scholarship away, Bombay comes back.
Hero
Bombay, he does the lawyer scene. And yeah, he is able to basically go that I will tie you up in so much legal litigation that your head will spin. So
what I like about that is he's not saying this will happen right away. It's that proper thing that does happen in courts where they tie people up for years.
Yeah.
And if they tied up for years, the kids can't be kicked out of the school.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, oh, they'll graduate because I'll make sure it lasts that long. Whatever.
Obviously, Hans died. Jan was at the funeral.
No.
And I
I suppose.
wrote, I'm surprised I didn't beat up Banks at the funeral.
Shove him over the top.
Just throw something.
I think that's the moment they stop giving Banks grief after that and stop badmouthing him.
Yeah.
I think they re-bombed after Hans dies.
Yeah, I think that's the most. Obviously, Emilio comes back. Bombay is just sitting in Charlie's room as he sleeps. Not very beautiful.
They chips him out of bed though. That's quite cool.
Yeah, they play street hockey, which because I don't know the timeline of events in this movie. I didn't know if that was on a weekend or not.
It must have been.
Yeah, that's what I think. It must be because otherwise they'd be in trouble.
Yeah.
I also So Banks all of a sudden sides with them again. I don't think there's a moment.
Yes, there's a moment.
Obviously, they go like, we're taking Banks back now, and they're like, oh, we don't want him anyway. But I'm guessing it's because of the funeral.
Yes. Yeah, he kind of rebonds.
But again, they don't have a verbal moment.
No,
they just go, he's with us again. It's like, cool.
Yeah, we got our boy back.
Yeah. All day they need to quack. I actually wrote that gave me chills.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is funny because of the first movie I hated it.
Yeah, but it's now it's established.
Yeah, now it's established. Like, you know what? That's great.
When I went to see the Ducks in California, don't clack, and I was really upset. But it's like they're professional hockey players or something.
You're the only person in the crowd quacking. You're like, why? Obviously, the varsity coach despises the Ducks, but I don't think I ever saw the varsity coach in a scene beforehand, so it just felt very out of nowhere.
He's there when they get their scholarships, because they're like scholarships when they're introduced. Sorry, the school in is like over the hill lead on, and he's with the team. But that's the only other time you see him.
Yeah, so it felt very. I understand what the varsity team makes him. I understand why like the deans don't like him. They just never unload with the coach.
I suppose because you don't see their training, and why would he be involved in the bullying of the Ducks?
Yeah.
On the school level,
Like,
no need for him. But I think he could have maybe have done with a little extra, maybe not one more scene.
Absolutely. Yeah. Obviously, for a majority of the movie, Portman's not there.
No,
Because he does accept the scholarship. And so halfway during the game, he accepts it and he joins the team. Now, I wrote that has to be illegal because, like, it's last second, it's mid-game. Obviously, when you have substitutions, the substitutes are already on the side.
What? Well, the only thing I can think of that would make that all right is if he was already on the roster sheet.
Yeah, but obviously he wasn't.
But what if he was? What if Bombay and Orion together? So when Bombay leaves the lawyery scene, he says, "I've got some business in Chicago."
And then
Where's Pullman from?
Yeah,
Chicago.
Then I wrote straight after that, "Fuck it, the bathrooms are there."
And they get a new third member.
Yeah, they do.
Goldberg this time.
But also, they do acknowledge Ken.
Yes.
They acknowledge Ken.
They do, yeah. It's important that he's still mentioned.
Yeah. Also, Louis still can't break in the fact that he can't stop himself.
Yeah.
This game, which I own 100% so they address in the second movie,
He
right?
manages to stop once.
Yeah.
He stops in the final match.
Yeah.
He stops and puts ice all over the goalie.
Oh, the goalie. And
So,
yeah.
in White Duck's canon, Luis has stopped once. He still can't stop. Just because he managed it once.
Which is hilarious to me.
Yeah.
I miss Portman so much.
Cancel Luis, sorry.
Yeah. I miss Portman so much. And I wrote just so much hockey in the movies, and I still don't understand. I genuinely don't understand this game. But also, I just feel the final game was rushed because I was watching on Disney Plus, and one thing I like to do when I watch things on home media or on streaming services, I like to watch how it's like the time is managed, how things paced. There was 20 minutes left of the film as we got to the final game, and it just felt very rushed to me.
I don't know. I don't think any other game, I don't think they spend longer than about 12 minutes or so on any game. What may have felt rushed is the game has no development in that no one scores.
Yeah, and I like that aspect.
Yes.
I like that because it puts them on equal footing,
Yeah.
which obviously is more disheartening to the varsity team than
The Ducks.
the Ducks. So I like that story. It just felt very rushed to me. And also when the game ends, the movie ends.
Yeah, there's not a lot after. So what, I don't know if you noticed this, all three final games, all three movies, end a slightly different way.
Yes.
So the first movie, Charlie gets taken down with seconds to spare.
Yeah.
He gets a penalty.
Yeah.
They will say Banks should take it. Charlie takes it and still scores.
Yeah.
Great, he's done it. The second movie ended a full-on penalty shootout because
Yeah.
it's a draw. This one ended with the last second goal.
Yes.
And I'm quite like that.
Goldberg.
Yes. Goldberg.
Yeah. Which really, it did annoy me. It's the moment he gets the thing and he like
Like a second left on the clock. It's like, Goldberg, come on, shoot, just shoot.
well,
Don't ever do that to me again, Charlie. You know that's actually a bookend.
yeah.
Because he says at the beginning, don't do that to me again, Goldberg.
Yeah.
The skating.
Exactly.
In the movie, yeah.
Wish I worked Coach Ryan as a new member of the team. I think as a character, he's probably one of the most interesting ones that we've had.
Yeah, so the whole storyline with his daughter,
Yes.
he's just a serious hockey coach. That's all he is.
Yeah.
He's serious, he takes the job seriously, and the Ducks obviously are used to Bombay's kind of training style when they're playing.
Yeah.
He doesn't do any of that. So
Exactly.
they all hate him.
Especially Charlie.
Yeah.
Because you're not my real dad. But obviously, Bombay then reveals to Charlie the whole idea was you two learn from each other,
Yeah.
which I think if Bombay had stayed out beforehand, there would have been less issues.
Yes, just say that, man.
Yeah, just state that, you know.
Maybe he had too much faith in Charlie. Maybe he's like, oh,
I think it's more safe in the Ryan, to be honest. But honestly, once that happens, they all bond. They
opens the box to start you.
Yeah.
That give you a little chill?
a little. It isn't as tactful as the first time.
No.
Especially when I kind of saw it coming because obviously the uniforms going, the Ducks are dead. They're like, oh, I have a box here. It's like, oh, you're doing what you did in the last movie. But obviously, they added choices to crack.
What I liked about this one was that moment, you expect it to be a moment between him and Charlie, but
Yeah.
the moment actually starts with Wayne.
Yeah.
Because he's the one who gets the first shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, they didn't play into the way you... I think what they did quite cleverly is, yeah, okay, Charlie's the most developed, but by the end of the third movie, you put all of the Ducks on kind of equal footing.
Yeah.
Like, they're all...
I would say this is the one where like there's an equal amount of screen time between all of them.
Yeah.
Except Portman, of course, because he's gnarly. But yeah, I think that's really well done. Again, I feel like this had the biggest budget,
Yeah.
and you can tell they had the indoor roller coaster park with Reed and Charlie, and obviously the extended skating scene at the beginning.
Yes.
Very good scene, though. Really good scene. It's obviously more adventurous with more murder. And yeah, I just feel like this is a good film. I just think it overindulges on spectacle and less on story.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. I can see that.
And I feel like with the Mighty Ducks, the heart of it is the story.
Yes.
I'm saying this as a new fan. As a new fan.
I'm glad you're a fan.
No, honestly, these were films that like as I said at the start, was very like cautious with. But no, I'm glad I have watched these movies, and I would recommend all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a very good watch. Do you want a couple of a few more facts?
Absolutely.
So, the final game in the second movie is shot at the Arrowhead Pond, now the Honda Center.
Amazing.
They played on it The kids played on it before the hockey team did. The real hockey team. The first people to play ice hockey on that ice was for this film.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought that was quite good. So in terms of the third movie, any favourite characters, new characters, quotes, anyone changed in the way that you liked? Anyone changed in the way you didn't like apart from Charlie, maybe?
So I would say my favorite new character, so I'm not basing any characters off like the previous one, is Orion. I feel like if you're not having me there with the in this film, having Orion in this film added something different. I think it's the biggest change from the movies, and as a character, I think he works well. Characters that didn't develop, I mean, I can just say Abraham again. Also, I would say Goldberg.
Yes.
I feel like Goldberg and Abraham are in the same boat for me, but Goldberg I can endear myself to more because he has some weird character feel like he's not like a coward in a way. And it's funny because he's the Goldberg that everyone, he's the goalkeeper. So I can laugh at that. Favorite quote, honestly, because if you chill like it's the Kraken.
When they're in the practice or when they're doing it before the game?
Before the game,
because they all think he's going to do the goatee.
Yeah. So he goes quack. It's like I got chills. So I was like, you know what? You don't have Bombay doing it. You have someone else doing it.
Did you get chills when the logo rolled out of the ceiling and covered up the Warriors logo?
No, I did laugh. I was like, they had that ready.
Well, yeah, Charlie says that was Bombay.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I did like, actually, in terms of, we spoke about I can't remember anything aside from the lack of diversity in the second movie, actually the second movie is probably even the best in terms of diversity.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I've thought in these movies is the Warriors. So the Native American symbolism. So the American football team, the Washington Redskins, have been cancelled. They are, I think they're just now the Washington football team, they're called.
Yeah.
Something basic like that, right?
Yeah.
And what it seems at first is like, oh no, but Charlie's, who ends up being his girlfriend, from the beginning of the film, she's trying to get that cancelled.
Yeah.
She's like, she even says, she does say I think she said the word problematic.
Yeah, she does.
The problematic warrior's name.
Well, right by fire, you have Charlie kind trying to defend it.
Yeah.
I was like, no.
That is a bit of development from Charlie, though.
I absolutely agree, and I think she's an interesting character. But it's weird because she almost becomes more like Charlie with a Charlie.
They kind of meet in the middle.
Yeah. She falls in love with Hockey more because of Charlie.
I think that's fair though. If she doesn't lose her defining characteristics,
I don't really establish it that much.
Her being woke.
Yeah,
which is woke before woke was a thing.
Yeah,
and that's not people use that as a negative term. Right, being woke is the right thing to be.
Woke is just a term that's basically trying to say, can I please be racist? Can you stop targeting me for being racist or homophobic or problematic?
And I think as a guy who likes sports, and I know that an association with sports and people who like sports, they can be seen a certain way. And I actually like someone who, with her left-wing fundamentals, becomes a sports fan.
Yes.
Because sport in itself, inherently, shouldn't be seen that way. It's a game.
No, absolutely.
And I actually quite like that she comes around to it. I like that she goes, and they're not all picking her and jocks.
No, I do like that because obviously we're big wrestling fans and there is a mentality with wrestling fans.
Yes, there is.
That I don't think we fall into. I don't think we fall into that category.
I think the company we keep doesn't either, which I think
absolutely
is refreshing in terms of fandom.
So I think when we look at that and seeing like someone who can transition into that, I think that's always a good thing to go. Like it's almost meant to highlight sports is for everyone.
Yes, exactly. It's a game. Enjoy it.
Exactly. No, it's football fans. I get that, but
it's football's. Yeah, I mean, not to discuss football too much, but it is getting better. Any favourite quotes? I've got one here that I always love.
Again, my favourite quote is the quack because that is what stands out to me.
There's one joke, and it is said by your new favourite character, Orion.
Yeah.
After Goldberg fed Julie all that food, and she's puking in the penalty box, he says, "Julie the cat, what's the matter? You eat a furball?" I was like, good line.
I was meant to read that out. Why is Goldberg sabotaging the team?
He just wants his spot back. He's very selfish.
Yeah, he's a very selfish character.
He's always, like, one of his characterizations from the beginning is that he's quite self-involved.
Yeah. But I felt bad for Julie because she's the one like trying to be like, no, we'll work together. It's like, Goldberg's like, get back.
Yeah. He's a dick.
Yeah.
But he's always a dick. He's the pain in the arse of the original team, the original members. So you say your second one's your favourite. What was your overall opinion of all three movies?
Honestly, I think they're all pretty fantastic films. Honestly, I think they do hold up. Just films in general, like sports films, kids films, they hold up. I think my thing is obviously because I watched them all in a very short space of time. I don't think I give myself time to develop on each one. I feel like it's a thing where you should do trilogies or like series. You should like, watch the film, then give yourself some time, then go back to it, like to re-engross yourself into the world.
Yeah.
But if you're going like from one to the next, or one to the other, to the other, to the other, you notice how everything's very similar.
Yeah.
And I think, again, every story is essentially the same. Team needs to learn how to cooperate with the coach all together to overtake the other team. Very simple story, but I feel like every film is done differently and well enough that like you can look past it.
I think when you pull out a trilogy of sports films, which, like you said, have the same basic structure, really important to focus on characterization, development. And I think they do that quite well considering it's a kids' film.
No, absolutely. I feel the idea, especially because obviously we meant the Ducks are like, they have like a diverse team. I think that works best if I, as a kid, you think, oh, that's me. I'm Charlie, or I'm Banks, or I'm Avon.
Also, the only team with girls in.
Yeah, that too. Right. It's a film, their films are done to basically like, oh, I could do that. Yeah. And I think, especially for kids, I think that's a really good thing to do.
I do too. Having most of the original District 5 team come from the deprived background.
Yeah.
I think that, again, I grew up South London for the fact that I could, you know, for my birthday, get a pair of skates and a hockey stick and a little rubber ball to bat around. I was set. The reason football is so popular, because all you need is a ball.
Yeah.
It's the reason it's so popular in low economic areas. And you need a little bit more to even play street hockey, but the fact you're right, the fact that they show characters from that kind of background, that they show Banks from a higher class background, they have a bit of diversity with Jesse and Terry, their dads, Kenny, and then they have Julie and Connie, and there's a little girl in the first one who does figure skating, and her brother, I can't remember the character's name. There's a really good moment in this movie where she's like, I don't want to play hockey, I want to figure skate. And he's like, I want to play hockey, so you do it, otherwise I don't. I know nothing about hockey. She pushes him over. Yeah, you know more music.
I was just saying, so obviously then show them play street hockey as well. Oh, if you want to start learning to play hockey, this is how you can start. Like, you know, just go out with a couple of rounds, get a couple of cones, and
that's where I started.
Yeah,
I lived on a very quiet road, a little crescent off of the main road, and I had a hockey goal, but I only had one. So we would often do what they do.
Yeah,
plastic barrel bins on their side, no goalie.
Yeah.
Being such a fan, I was the driving force. Most of us had skates.
Yeah.
So when I started doing it, a few of the other kids went and got their parents to get them hockey sticks. You know, you could actually, at that point, somewhere like Toys R Us, you could buy a little hockey set with 2 sticks and a ball.
Nice.
Quite cheap. I don't know if those fun things are still a thing. I don't know if the Ducks made that popular.
Well, they're very popular in America.
Yeah, but I had a set. I ended up having 2 sets because they were only plastic. They had broke one of them. And the other thing you say about trilogies and being close together is they were released quite close together. 2 years between each film.
Yeah, I noticed that like also on Disney Plus the other year. Like, oh, that's very fascinating. Obviously, it's a thing like sequel with big studios and they see that the first one's made a lot of money. Make a second one, say they make filming. Oh, make a third one.
Yeah,
I'm guessing the third one didn't do that well.
I think it did. I just think Joshua Jackson didn't want to come back for the third
because he started Dawson Creek like 3 years later.
He didn't want to come back for the third one. So the fact that they didn't do a full one isn't surprising. I don't think they were going to get Emilio or Joshua Jackson. I think without at least one of them, I think it was going to be a difficult sell. There were plans for a fourth one. Never happened. One thing we haven't discussed, when Disney, we're putting this out before we started recording, when Disney started their hockey team, the Anaheim Ducks, it's actually mentioned in the film. So in the Ducks films, it's canon that a pro team is named after them. Which is crazy.
I remember you told me that literally like on the drive. Yeah. Wow, like that's actually shocking to me because like obviously say it shows almost I guess like how impactful this film was.
Yeah, I mean to people my age and a lot of my friends, when you said you watch this and we could do it on the podcast, I was very excited because a lot of my friends my age they've at least seen it.
Yeah,
and a lot of them have a love for it. They used to get shown on ITV all the time. All 3 of them, Christmas especially, because it's I see almost. It used to get shown on telly a lot, and in fact, more than once, friends of mine, we sat down with a couple of drinks and some pizzas and watched all 3 in a row. Like, it's been done.
I definitely think like more people around my age, like my generation, Gen Z, should watch these films. Honestly, like us, obviously, we discussed it outside the podcast before. I'm a big fan of 80s stuff. So like I do watch like a lot of older movies. I feel like this is one that holds up. Apart from like I would say the more problematic stuff happens in the third movie.
Yeah.
But even then, I would argue it's sounds terrible, but it's so minimal that like you can look past it.
Yeah.
So I do think auditions hold up very well, even from a cultural standpoint. And I think it's a nice back of the 90s, and especially a time where like hockey is a big thing.
Tim, did you do any extra credit?
I watched an episode of the animated series.
I have not watched an episode of the animated series since it came out when I was a kid.
It's weird. For those who don't know, it's an animated series about the Mighty Ducks, except they're actually ducks, and it's set in space. It's weird, but it's like a Disney afternoon cartoon. It's just there to like distract you from doing your homework.
There's only about 6 episodes of it, right? There's not a lot.
No, there's 20 episodes. There is one season. Because obviously you didn't do well because everyone wanted actual Mighty Ducks.
Well, not some hockey.
I would not recommend it. I was going to start Game Changers, but unfortunately I did not have enough time.
Well, maybe we'll do Game Changers in the future then. I've watched the first series. Second series is currently being released. I'm waiting till it's all out, and then I want to binge it.
Yeah, I'd happily wait until we do another episode to do Game Changers. Yeah, I've heard great things.
The first series is brilliant. Take what we said about Joshua Jackson, apply it to the lead in this one.
Yeah.
Similar. Very good. In fact, I'd say all the kids in Jane James are brilliant. He's even got, I cannot remember any of the characters' names. It's been a while since I watched him, but he's kind of best friend in it. Brilliant actor. Little, like, kid. Amazing. Right, and I think that wraps us up. So, next episode, Tim is taking the lead. He's going to set me some recommended reading in a subject. Maybe I'll do some extra credit, maybe I won't. We'll see. I think the aim is we'll always do some extra credit.
Yeah, I think that should be the goal.
Something that you weren't told is a mainstay that you need to listen to, watch, play, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll do something like that. So Tim, over to you.
So for my first episode as a host, I'm going to make Barbie listen to 3 Slipknot albums, simply because Slipknot is my favourite band of all time, and the 3 albums he's going to listen to are Ira, Volume 3, and Point 5, The Very Chapter.
Well, I look forward to listening to them and talking about them in 2 weeks. I think we're going to go every other week or release an episode. So 2 weeks' time, I'll have listened to 3 Slipknot albums, maybe done a little extra credit, and we'll be back to discuss it, and Tim will be taking the lead.
Can't wait.
Thank you for listening to the Cult Classic Society. You can catch us on Instagram and Twitter at CC Society Pod, and you can email us ccsocietypod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.